So when we're children growing up, we dream of what we're going to become. We might be a rock star, we might be an astronaut. Heck, we might even be a race car driver. But we end up getting a job that we don't really like, so we can provide for our families. We forget about those dreams. I don't want to settle in life. I was always told I was too heavy, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't rich enough, I wasn't pretty enough, and I didn't have the right last name to make it in an industry dominated by young athletic males. But I didn't listen to that. I'm Kim Artlip. I'm the owner and promoter of a professional wrestling company. And if you wondered what Debbie said and stuttered on what I just said, like Hulk Hogan, oh yeah. Like, y'all know Macho Man Randy Savage, snap into a Slim Jim. So, when I was a kid growing up, I loved wrestling. I saw my first match when I was 5 years old. And I loved it. Oh my gosh, it was so awesome. Cheering for Bruno Sammartino, Larry Zbyszko, the Iron Sheik. It was so larger than life. And every Sunday, we sat at my grandmother's house. And we'd have Sunday dinner, then we'd go sit in the living room. We'd watch WTAE out of Pittsburgh, the old WWF show. Knowing you couldn't sit near my grandmother. Because my grandmother was like this tall. But she threw every punch and she threw every kick and would throw us across the room. I had bruises for years. I think they thought I was a victim of child abuse. No, I was just watching wrestling with my grandma. But I was such a tomboy, and I dreamed of being a pro wrestler. That was my goal, to stand in Madison Square Garden, tens of thousands of people, and they'd raise my hands up, and everybody would be going, Kim, 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 Kim. That never happened. What happened was college, family, divorce. I moved to Florida, met the love of my life, marriage, but I never forgot wrestling. I was 5 years old sitting in a gymnasium watching wrestling. And when my son was 5 years old, I passed on that awesome tradition. He got to see Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, 7'4", eighth wonder of the world. He got to see Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth. And he got to see, as you guys can see, he got to see people doing things that were amazing. Guys were blowing smoke in the air. They were fist bumping the crowd while rock music was blaring. And it was so amazing because you got to watch guys defying gravity. And you got to see so many things. And we went to a show, and we started going to shows, my husband and I, in Port St. Lucie. And South Florida, we went to Fort Lauderdale, all over the place. And I loved it. And I got to thinking, what's the one thing that Vero Beach doesn't have? Guys in tiny pants. So I said to my husband, I want to start a pro wrestling company. And, most husbands would be like, stick with your day job. But, to his credit, he was like, whatever makes you happy. So I spent the next 6 months of my life kind of studying and going around. It was kind of like what not to wear, except everybody had really great abs. And they were wearing spandex and, like you can see, kicking each other in the head. But, that's what I love about wrestling. It's an escape. Where else do you get to see this? It is so much fun. And, and for me, I was so excited. So when I told people I'm going to start a pro wrestling company, I think they thought maybe I had lost my frickin' mind. But I was surprised at how many people asked me who was going to run it for me. As if there was some reason why I couldn't run a company. Because you got that glass ceiling. And there's certain things that women can't do. And one of them is run a sports organization dominated by men. I didn't care. So I was determined to do my own thing. So I had people that told me, you know what you need to do is I'll come in, this poor unfortunate little fella, little short little dude, and he says, I'll come in, I'll book your shows. I'll get the talent, I'll write the script. Yeah, wrestling is scripted, sorry guys, spoiler alert. He says, I'll do everything. You never need to talk to the guys. You can sit back there at the concession stand and sell hot dogs, or you can sit out front and you can sell tickets, but you don't interact with them. Let the men run the show. And that didn't work for me. And you also had this whole stream of thought that only veterans, ring veterans, I mean, guys that have wrestled for 20 years and retired and are now out of shape, or former WWE performers can run a show. Because they think that for some reason that having worn spandex at some point in their life qualifies them to be event planners. And it's so much more than event planning. It's project management, it's marketing, it's dealing with so many personalities. And you've got social media. And just my company alone, which is Ignite Wrestling, we have dry rub, we have hot sauce, 42 merchandise lines, one of the top 5 trading cards in independent wrestling in the world. And for some reason, it's like, you have no experience, you can't do this. Because there's only a certain amount of roles that women can hold in pro wrestling, according to some guys. Is you're a performer, you're a ring announcer, you're a backstage interviewer, you're a valet, or you're a witch. And I don't hold to that stereotype. I mean, I'm sure there's people that think I'm a witch, but I don't hold to those stereotypes because I don't want to be defined by that. I don't want someone telling me what limits I have and what I can do. So we got the company going. We had our first show, and in the door walks a WWE Hall of Fame legend. I nearly wet my pants. This is Teddy Long, former Hall of Fame member, one of the greatest managers in pro wrestling, former manager, general manager of SmackDown. And he calls everybody playa. Comes in our dressing room with one of the wrestlers, like, hey, playa, Teddy's in the house. And I sat with this guy during the show. And I'm talking to Teddy, and he's, like, it's awesome to see a woman doing this. You stick with it, you follow your gut, on and on and on. And to have somebody that, to me, is an icon, was the best drug in the world for me. I was so pumped. So I had him back a couple months later. Same thing. We're talking about the direction of the company, and he's like, you got this. And that's what I needed. I needed someone to believe in me, because that's the thing. We all need someone to believe in our dreams. Because what we do, and what the performers do, and what I do, is we want to give an OMG moment. We want to see that look of wonder on a child's face. We want to create a bonding moment between parents and children, whoever it is, that they share an experience that they're never going to forget. They're always going to remember the first time that they saw somebody defy gravity. They're going to remember the first time that they saw their hero get beaten down and stand up and win. That's what wrestling's about. Wrestling is about hope. It's about dreams. And these guys and these girls are phenomenal. They travel all over the country for wages that you wouldn't believe, because they want to make it to the big stage. And they're not going to let anybody get in their way. They're training, they're doing whatever it is that they have to do to get to the next level. And, and having people that believe in them is one of the most important things that you can have. Now, I have a very good friend. His name is John Cruz. He wrestles under a mask as Serpentico. He's one of the top lucha wrestlers in the world. But He transitioned. He was a tag team wrestler. He transitioned morphed into Serpentico. And bookers and promoters didn't believe in him, but John never stopped believing in himself. And in 2017, he made this post on social media from bookers and promoters. They told him he was too small, you're too short, you're too Hispanic, you're not Hispanic enough, you're not worth the price, you're not worth the flight, you live too far. No, but can you put me in contact with your friends? He never lost his belief, and others believed in him. He is wrestling all over the world. He had a WWE tryout. He's appeared on NXT, WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact, Puerto Rico, Canada, Mexico. I can't even name everywhere this guy's been because he didn't let anybody put that glass ceiling. He let nobody tell him what he could do. He didn't let anyone tell him, you're 5'6", you're from Puerto Rico, you're 180 pounds, you can't make it in this sport. This guy defies gravity. This guy gives hope, and this guy gives his all in the ring because he wants you to leave feeling like you've been entertained. You know, that's what we need. We need to always remember those dreams. I never imagined at 5 years old that I would run a pro wrestling company. I never dreamed that I would be sitting in a locker room with 22 guys, 22 girls and guys who decided, it's kind of like herding cats. Let me explain. When you run a pro wrestling show, it's like herding cats. You have 22 individuals walking around wanting to change their music 15 minutes before the bell rings, have forgotten their gear, stuck in traffic, their zipper broke, they forgot their pants, you name it. I've heard every excuse out there. But that's what I love. I love the chaos. I love the imagination. I love what these guys do. They drive me nuts. I want to kill them most of the time. But they're my family. They make my dream come true. I help them get their names out there to promote themselves so they can go to the next level. So I got to tell you guys, never let anyone tell you what you can't do. Don't let anyone tell you what you're worth. Don't let anyone ever tell you how far you can go. Because you're going to have people that are going to throw stats at you. They're going to tell you that, X amount of all small businesses fell in the first 2 years. I saw 13 companies fail in the first 2 years that I was a promoter. 13 start and fail. But I'm still here. And I'm the one that people bet money on wouldn't last past a show. So you never know. Because I have a vision. I have a dream. And I'm going to screw up. And I'm going to stumble. I'm going to fall. But I'm going to cry at moments like that when somebody holds my belt up in the air and realizes a dream. So whatever you do, I implore you, never give up on your dreams. Don't let anybody hold you back. And thank you so much for letting me talk.